So in this video, you're going to learn how you can detect and trade the rising and falling wedge pattern. First of all, you're going to learn what the rising and falling wedge patterns look like, and in the end, I'm going to show you an example so that you'll be able to understand and trade these patterns successfully. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about the rising and falling wedge pattern. So first of all, let's zoom in and let's discuss in detail how and where you can detect these patterns, okay, and how do they look like. So first of all, here I have the drawing of rising wedge pattern, okay, and I'm going to explain how you can detect this and what's the strategy you can use in order to trade this pattern. So here in the formation of rising wedge pattern, you can see the market structure is making consistent higher highs and higher lows, okay, and as the market proceeds, the market is making these higher highs and higher lows, but the waves are becoming smaller and smaller, and it makes a shape of a wedge, okay. So as you can notice here that this is the first wave, then second wave, third, fourth. There can be any number of waves. The only you need to focus only on the market structure, because here the next wave is smaller than the previous wave, and this trend or this pattern continues until the market breaks out, okay. As you can see here it broke out. So this is what the rising wedge pattern looks like, okay, and you can detect this pattern on your charts when you focus on the waves or complete wave, okay. You should see if there are waves on the chart, and if the market is making consistent higher highs and higher lows, and if the next wave is smaller than the previous wave. That's when you are successfully detecting the rising wedge pattern, okay. Now let's talk about how you can trade this rising wedge pattern. So this wedge pattern, any wedge pattern, like if it's the rising wedge pattern, it would indicate that after the formation of this pattern, the market will give us a bearish trend, okay. And if it's the falling wedge pattern, after the formation of this, the market will give us a bullish trend. So in this case here, as we are discussing, that this is the rising wedge pattern, and once the market breaks out this line which is connecting these higher lows, then after that the market will move in the bearish trend, okay. And the target for this market, or the target for this bearish trend, will be the origin of the rising wedge pattern. As you can see here that this is the origin of the trend, and this will also act as our target, okay, possible target. And what we'll do is we'll take entry at this level. And also, in order to trade, or in order to increase the probability of your trade, what you can do is you can look for a supply zone or a resistance which can act as a very good confluence. We also have a supply and demand indicator which can act as a very good confluence. You can check the links in the description. And here you can see that there can be any level, any key level, which can be our supply zone or our resistance, okay. So let's say if you have detected this rising wedge pattern and you also found this key level at this point, then what you do is you take the short position, you put your stop loss just above that key level, okay, and now your entry would be somewhere here. And you should also be focusing on some candlestick patterns, because that would favor your trade even more. And after that, your target would be the origin of this rising wedge pattern. Now let's talk about the falling wedge pattern. The falling wedge pattern is very similar to the rising wedge pattern. It only has opposite market structure. As you can see here, in case of the rising wedge pattern, the market was making higher highs and higher lows. But in case of the falling wedge pattern, the market is making these lower lows and lower highs, okay. Other than that, everything stays similar, because in here as well, every next wave is smaller than the previous wave. Let me just move here. So every next wave is smaller than the previous wave, and market is moving in the bearish trend, okay. So after that, the trend will reverse as soon as the market breaks out from this line which is connecting these lower highs, and after that the market will move in the bullish direction. And similarly, the target for the falling wedge pattern will be the origin of the pattern, as you can see here. And in order to trade this pattern successfully, what you should do is you should look for key levels, okay. And in this case here, the possible key levels are either support zone or demand zones, okay. You can look for in the past, and if you detect any demand zone or a support zone, then that can act as a very good confluence. So once you have detected this falling wedge pattern and you also have found some key level, then you should look for any candlestick pattern that indicates that now the market is going to move in the bullish direction, and that would mean now you are good to take your position. That would be your long position. So now let's go towards the charts and look at the example. If I just zoom out and let me just go down here. So here you can see that there is the formation of falling wedge pattern. As you can see here, this is the first wave, then this is the second wave, and this is the third wave. Now here you can notice that the market did go a little bit below, but this would act as a false breakout, because here you can see this candle is closing inside our wedge. Okay, so this is a false breakout, and institutions do this in order to hit the stop loss of the retail traders, because a lot of retail traders would take their long position at this point, and the markets or the institutions would move the market just in the downward direction to give the false breakout, just to hit those stop loss levels. And after that, as you can see here, the market moved in the bullish trend. So this is the falling wedge pattern forming here. As you can see, there is continuous formation of these lower highs and lower lows, and after giving the false breakout, the market moved in the bullish trend. And here our expected or our projected profit, or the profit level, would be the origin of this wedge pattern. As you can see here, this is the origin of this falling wedge pattern, and this can act as a very good profit level. So let me just repeat what we have discussed in this video so far. Okay, let me just go here. So first of all, we discussed about what like the rising and falling wedge patterns look like. We went over how you can detect the rising wedge pattern, which is the market structure should be forming continuous higher highs and higher lows, and every next wave in that trend or in that pattern should be smaller than the previous wave. Okay, as you can see here. And after you have detected the rising wedge pattern, then you should look for a key level in the past. That key level can be either supply zone or a resistance level, and that can act as a very good confluence. So once you have also detected a key level at the end of this wedge, then you should be good to trade the short position. Okay, and your target would be the origin of this rising wedge. Okay, and in this case, in case of falling wedge pattern, the market structure should be making continuous lower highs and lower lows, and after that you should also look for a confluence, which can either be a support or demand zone. And once you have detected that as well, then you should be good to take the long position, and your target would be the origin of this falling wedge. And in the end, I have also shown through an example here that how this falling wedge pattern formed, and how the markets and why the market or the institutions gave this false breakout. And after that, you can see the trend did move in the bullish trend, and our expected take profit level was hit. So I hope you guys like this video. If you have any questions, please comment down below and I would love to answer them. And please make sure to subscribe and like this video so that you'll be the first one to know whenever we upload new content. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.